All right. What's up, Seagoville Middle School community of Seagoville? We here. We finally made it.
Yes.
It's Mr. Du Bois here.
Mr. Mayberry right here.
And
Mr. Kelly over here producing.
all right, and this is your MD 2020 podcast. Starting us off, episode 1. We made it. We talked about it. We're just here to just give you information on everything from, we're going to talk about sports, maybe a little bit of politics, just life, education for sure. But we're just kind of just bringing you that real that comes from our hearts and our minds.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're trying to give y'all an inside look at, both sides, of the education, educators, what we like to do, outside of work, what we do inside of work, every day dealing with these kids,
Parents.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah, so we're here. I just want to kind of just give since this is episode 1, give like a little background of how this came about. So, I know we're gonna be I'm gonna stay away from the misters of Du Bois, Mayberry, and Kelly.
Yeah.
So one of our special guests today, actually, he'll talk a little bit more about it. He gave me the opportunity to come back as a campus coordinator, and kind of some roles were the climate and culture, and just kind of just talking about how we can kind of implement just some. Just to get that better, not to say it was bad, but
yeah.
So one thing I wanted to do was, do something different, engaging, fun, and so we done some firesides. We've done just check-ins with staff, but this podcast was something like I really wanted to roll out, and I'm glad that Mayberry and Kelly jumped on.
Exciting times, man. Exciting times. Something new we can bring to the campus culture. Excited, ready to go.
Yeah, you came to me, or you put out an email and just were saying, hey, like, this is something that you wanted to do, and I do another one on the side on my own time, and when I heard about it, I was like, heck yeah, I want to jump in.
Yeah, it was real quick. It was actually in the comments of the Zoom.
Yeah,
I had said it, and Mayberry said, hey, put me down, and Kelly came right back to me. I got all the stuff ready for you, so it was. Yeah. I mean, this was perfect. So man, like I said, this is episode 1. There's more to come, but we growing, but we learning, but we're gonna have fun, and like I say, for our community, it's just gonna be a place where you can really just get to know us outside of the suits, outside of the whiteboards and the grades, and all that. So you get to know us, and we get to know you all. So I hope y'all have fun on this journey with this ride with us. But yeah, we starting. We gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going.
Yes, sir.
So let's just get right into it, man. We all here. I've been given the opportunity. I'm not a teacher no more in the classroom this year, but we got you two as teachers, Mayberry and Kelly, and me kind of on that administration side. But we're all under the education. But so how is it? What's with everything going on this year?
It is. It's wild. This is the first year that I've teached. I came from a journalism background and writing and everything. And when the pandemic first started, I got furloughed from another job, and so I wanted to jump into teaching and everything. And everybody had told me it was going to be a little different than how it's been in the past. And it's very, very different from what everybody had told me. And the biggest difference I think that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I think is a really interesting conversation, is having to teach not only kids in the class and their social distance and all that, but then you also have, like, I'm recording this on my laptop right now. I have my laptop open for 6 classes with a Zoom on. And so it's that balance of I have kids in the class and trying to also remember that there's kids at home that I'm having to not take care of, but also teach and make sure they're understanding. And that's such a difficult thing at times, because you have those kids in front of you, and those are the kids that you're teaching. But then you're like, oh wait, I gotta go back over here to Zoom.
My stepkids over there. I forgot about them over there. Yeah,
the same attention. They're virtual. We still have to give them the same attention that we give the kids in the classroom, and at times it can be a challenge. But I think that it's something that we as educators are well equipped to attack head on. So
well, how do you attack that? Because it's something that I've struggled with at times, because there's moments where I'm really into the lesson. So how do you make yourself aware that you need to go back to that Zoom?
It is so for my situation, because I'm a special education teacher, I work with other teachers. Shout out to the 8th grade math department.
All right, go math.
Go math. But the teachers I work with, for one, are we work well together. It's like third or fourth year working together, so we have a good rapport. We built a good rapport, over the years, and we built a good rapport, especially since school has started. And so I make sure that, I check in with those kids online, but we also, like I say, have those kids that are in person that, it's easier to work with those guys because they're right there, but online, it's like, cut your screen on, make sure your screens are on and different things.
I think that, like Mayberry is saying, it is some type of normalcy back when you had the kids back here, but I totally understand it. I mean, to be honest, I was telling my wife, I was like, man, I'm glad I'm out of the classroom, especially this year. Like, not to say I wouldn't have took on the challenge, but I mean, I don't know, because talking to just some like great teachers that I know, that, and I pride myself. I'm a little technology savvy. I can do things, but man, I don't know like how you would provide quality instructions to like those students at home. Like, it's a learning process. I think that one thing that I'm really trying to be intentional about is the collaboration. Like, if somebody's doing something good, they need to share that. Then, when I walk certain classrooms, I'm like, okay, you're doing it great. But when you talk to that teacher, it seems like they're doing it, but they're frustrated too because they feel like those students are not, those at-home students are not getting the best quality. So, I mean, I think it's a learning process. I don't know if we all have the right answers. Maybe I guess has the right answers. We'll see. But man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle out there. I think you just keep trying. I mean, just making sure that the students know that you care, you're being intentional. I think then we'll get through it. But yeah, I mean, that's a good question though, because I mean, right now with this COVID and what the situations that we're in, man, it is crazy. I mean, I think everybody, like, it's not only, I know it's not us. I mean, everybody. It's not educators. It's my mother. She works for the government. I mean, it's her because the meetings and all that, and then I mean, we see it in sports. Like, we just seeing everything that's happening in sports. Like, it's crazy out here, man. It's not like, I don't know, like, I don't know what the Cowboys gonna do. Like,
I don't either. I have no idea what they're gonna do.
The Cowboys know what they're gonna do.
I don't think nobody knows. Like, Jerry don't know. Like,
they don't even know if they're gonna have an offensive line half the time.
I mean, y'all were already. Speaking here, I'm not a Cowboys fan. Obviously, if you know me, I'm a Colts fan. But I love to go at the Cowboys because I mean, I'm here, born and raised in Dallas. You get the fans every Monday morning I love Sundays. I love Sundays to see how are y'all gonna lose this week?
Oh my
God. But with, like you said, with COVID and then injuries anyway, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and we literally don't have an offensive line. Our defensive coordinator is historically bad.
Yeah.
Our offense is now run by a redheaded stepchild from Fort Worth. And what else? Oh, our special teams only won us a game with a watermelon kick. Yeah, so it is one of the most Cowboy seasons we've ever had. But maybe you're a Texans fan, right?
Yeah, we never talk about that.
Okay.
No.
That's the only reason I get to be like,
That's a whole nother thing, a whole nother show.
We're surging.
Yeah, I told her, like, y'all gonna take a knot. Like, just make that decision.
This is the thing about us tanking. We don't have any first-round picks to get.
What's his name? Bill O'Brien really did y'all well.
Yeah,
Bill O'Brien
he got out of there. So,
but I'm not gonna hate on the Texans. We're gonna pick it up. Yeah. We're surging right now. We're playing better offensively.
One game.
We're trying to get it.
Y'all don't know. Y'all
we won one game, but we put up 40 in the one that we lost. So. We call that.
But y'all gave up 40 plus.
We call it progression.
Did the Titans come back on y'all too?
Yeah.
And beat you?
I said we weren't gonna talk about it.
All right.
Well, my Colts, we 4-2. We holding it down, and this was a season I didn't really have too many high expectations. So every win is a blessing. But me and Mayberry's team being in the same division, it's not too often that the Texans get one on us, like this. So. We'll see how that progresses, man. But we'll see. But it's crazy to see the stands, and you watch games with no fans, and then you got the little cardboard cutouts. I'm like, I don't know. That's just crazy to me, man. I don't know.
Do you know how they came up with those cardboard cutouts? So it was the A's. The Athletics were the first ones to do that
in baseball. When it's okay.
So they were trying to figure out ways to raise money for their foundation, and somebody within the team was like, let's just have like cardboard cutouts, and then. Every team did on that.
I don't know, man, because I be watching, and one time a football landed, like they threw it in the stands and then knocked one out. Like, oh, somebody hit! Oh! But it was just cardboard. So I don't know. I don't like all that, man. I don't know. It's just weird. Like I'm more of an NBA fan, so watching that was a little bit more better because you had the virtual fans. You could act like they're actual like fans. Yeah. So it was still weird, but I mean they did.
I actually liked the bubble though, you know, because it was more like it brought me back to like an AAU feel, you know, kind of like a. We're all playing in one specific, a couple of different gyms, but and they all have to see each other, so it was kind of one of those things where I think that it brought a little more competitiveness because like I see you every day.
Yeah, I think watching the media and just hearing it, I think they were saying like people were saying the NBA did it the best.
Yes,
I think they did. I like what baseball is doing. Like they're playing playing at Globe Life for the World Series, and I think it's kind of they stay in one setting and they do have a few fans there. So even watching those games is a little different. But man, this COVID has knocked us out.
Yeah, man, this is taking its toll.
Yeah.
Did you see what the NBA when the Lakers won? You're a Lakers fan,
yes,
right?
Yes,
yeah. So the Lakers,
LeBron James first, then Lakers, but it all worked out this year.
Go Rockets.
Mavs, yay.
4-1.
They actually were celebrating at the resort, and there was videos. I think it was Jimmy Butler or one of the Miami Heat players. He's walking and having to watch.
Watch out! That's pettiness right there.
So it's it's just like those types of things, those types of moments where a player like that has to watch another team celebrate. That's going to tick them off so much and drive them so much next year. So
but I'd be hurt by that. I don't know. I don't know about that. To see somebody winning like that beat me, and then I got to walk through that. I don't know about that. I'm petty. I'm ruining that. I'm doing something bad to it.
Gonna mess up their moment,
man. What? pull a fire alarm or something. Do something different, like just something.
Bloody.
Yeah, man. But as we were talking about when we originally with the first question that Kelly brought up about like COVID and just how the situation that we're putting in by COVID. I mean, just being in education now, like how is it? Like we know that we got students at home, we got them here, but like just your work life, like just when you are just like waking up in the morning, knowing that it's different when you come into the building. You got to put on your shirt, your pants, your tie. Your shoes, and your mask.
So, for me, my biggest thing, and this is something I've been wanting to ask another teacher, and it's a feeling that I've had because I'm in here by myself. I'm in a portable, so it's kind of outside of the school. But being out here and I'm teaching, it's really hard to have the mask on the whole time. And when I take it off to have them hear me better, I feel like I'm dirty or like I'm doing something wrong, With that, it's hard to do that and then look at a kid who's in my room and say, hey, put your mask on. Or like, do you ever have something like that or like?
Well, so, being a SPED teacher, is when I stated earlier, I move from class to class. I provide inclusion support. So I kind of have to make sure that I keep that mask on, because I'm seeing, multiple classes, multiple students, multiple teachers. So, it's kind of a must for me. I make sure that I go, with my mask because I don't want to be a carrier or a spreader. You know what I'm saying? We want to protect everybody.
Yeah, and I think me coming from like dealing with like level 1 discipline, you do get certain students who like I can understand that. Like when I get them in my office and they're in there because the teachers they just can't keep their mask on. Like I understand it, but I mean like you said, it's about safety. So I try to build it around that. And even myself, man, I got to catch myself that sometimes I'm walking and the mask has slipped down my nose and I'm still walking and then somebody has to remind me, or I feel like, I got to put it back on. It's crazy, man. And I think that like this has, I never would have thought something like this. I've only been in education this is like my 3rd year. But I mean, just being a student, like I would have thought we'll be here. Like to like I say, having masks on, we got a social distance. Like and I know our guest, he's gonna speak on that. Like one thing for middle schools, man, they love the fact of like interacting. Like they gotta like do the high fives, like hugs. Like this is that time.
Affirmation.
And just to almost tell them like stop, don't do that. Like and you could get in trouble for that now. Like that's crazy, man. So.
Well, for me, like I'm such a type of person. Like when I was working for the Dallas Stars, it was always something where I wanted to like fist bump every person who I was managing, and I tried doing that with some of the kids here. But then I also have to remember that there's kids who are like, do not do that at all because they're so worried about it, and like that's understandable. And so for me, it's doing it for the kids who are comfortable with it or who understand like that they can wash their hands later or whatever, or like that I'm keeping myself safe as well. But then also remembering there are certain kids that are not cool with that at all and do not want to have you touching them or doing anything. So it's that remembering part of it and being aware of how kids are handling this as well, because they're going through the exact same things.
Most definitely. Exactly. I think that another thing too, that the negative side of all this is just like when you were just saying, it's a lot of like the false information, like that you know, that you can get it by. I mean, the kid told me, stop looking at me that long. I can get COVID. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, my mom said it. And it's just like, it's crazy, man. It's just like, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with like false information. You got to deal with people not taking it serious, people taking it too serious. Exactly. But like, is it too serious because to them it may be serious enough? And like, so it's a fine line because you don't want to really offend anybody. So, I mean, kind of dealing with it from the administration side of like my first year, it's just like, following the rules, man. Like, I may not agree with everything, but we all got to follow the rules. That's at the end of the day, that's what I tell. It's like, we just got to follow these rules. You got to have them on if you want to be here on this building. I got to wear it as much as I probably don't want to, but I don't want to get sick because I got kids and the wife at home. Exactly. I don't want you to get sick and things like that. But well,
from the administration side, I guess, and I'll be very transparent. When we were watching one of the training videos and it came up that you could wear scrubs, I'm not gonna lie, I laughed out loud because I was like, "That is insane! What? Yeah. Like, we're getting to that point?" But in a serious question, how did that come up? Did somebody ask y'all if they could do that, or was that something from the district?
So, from my knowledge, and like I say, I wonderful guest, he can speak more to it. But I heard it from another district first, and be honest, it was I think I heard it from like Duncanville. That's why, because my daughter goes to Duncanville, and I read an email that they can wear scrubs and. Same thing. I'm like, I kind of like, whoa. Yeah. Like, but as a parent, I'm like, whoa, that saves money on school uniforms. Yes. But anyway, but I mean, I think it's just more for like, you know, if you go home and you wear your clothes, and then you got to take those off because you know they like information out there can be on your clothes and all that. So if you wear some scrubs, maybe you watch like it. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know what the baseline of like how that came about, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with some safety in regards to that.
They got a safety rationale behind it.
They always do some type of safety.
And when I saw it and I laughed at it, and then I was like, okay, well, honestly, if it helps somebody have peace of mind, go for it. Like, it's not. And at the end of the day,
I think that's what we all searching for is peace of mind. Peace of mind, just to be comfortable. Getting back to a new normal, a new normalcy, and just trying to, like I say, that peace of mind and just I'm okay and I'll be okay.
Well, yeah, I think that as we, like you just said, you hit it, peace of mind, man. I think that it's time to bring in this guest that can probably, who's at the end of the day has to kind of give all of us that peace of mind. Like that's one of his major roles. He's gonna hear false information. He's gonna take that seriousness, unserious, and like things like that. But at the end of the day, it's peace of mind. So everybody, we have a treat. We have the man, the myth, the legend, individual that I'm gonna be honest. Like I tell him all the time, man. He's a man of his word, and that's what one thing like highly respect from him. But Del Rio, Texas, born. He's a young man, man. I was 1983, I'm like, all right, not too far from behind me. And I'm gonna say this: you can't say his name right unless you put that doctor in front of it. So we have here our episode 1. Like I said, we starting out great. Our head campus principal of Seagoville Middle School, Dr. Jesus Martinez. Welcome to the MD 2020 show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Representing Oak Cliff. I was raised in Oak Cliff, baby.
Okay, Pleasant Grove, right here.
This would have been fighting words back in the day.
I'm glad that we mature, and I'm glad it's COVID.
And we on the same team now.
Most definitely, man. But look, it's an honor to have you. It's really, I'm going to say a blessing because, like I said, I pitched this to Dr. Martinez, and he was like, go for it, man. Like he's really giving that freedom, that autonomy to kind of like whatever it is to be better for you as an individual and for our school. He's letting us have it. So this is kind of this show and this process is really the foundation of his approval. So, but I want to start out, man, Dr. Martinez. Who are you? Like, who is Dr. Martinez?
I'm just a simple man. I think I've taken a different path to getting where I'm at. In that I grew up in a different background from a lot of people who end up in my role, who end up in my position, who end up with some of my accomplishments. And I never lose sight of being humble in this process. In that. I know the alternative. I grew up in Oak Cliff in the 90s, very traditional Mexican household. I have amazing parents. Interesting fact, I learned to read when I was 3 years old. My grandma taught me how to read the Bible.
Okay.
Okay.
And my grandma helped raise me. She's still going strong. She's about to be 93 years old next week. So,
all right.
Yes,
Listen.
yes.
Yeah.
So when I grew up in Oak Cliff, it was rough. It was rough. It was a different world. In that environment, you see a lot, you learn a lot. And I had a great time growing up, but I saw a lot of the things that I think a lot of people, it ends up affecting them negatively. When back in the 90s, Oak Cliff was full of gangs. I remember, just wanting to be like that. To be honest, to just be transparent. I don't say this often, but a lot of the staff knows that once they get to know me, they know a little bit about my life. When I was in 7th grade, I was a knucklehead, straight up knucklehead. Everything, you name it, I did it. Arrests, classroom disruptions, school issues, vandalism. I think it was a big learning experience. I think oftentimes, if you don't have anybody there to really draw that line, then you just go down that path forever. I was fortunate enough in my life and blessed to have that, to have somebody put a stop to it, and kind of turned it around. But I think a lot of it has to do with I always found school easy. So I do think that it's easy for us to say, oh well, he did it, why can't you? But there's a lot of factors, and the true question is about the disenfranchisement that our communities face, the lack of resources, the issues that are deep rooted, being a first generation. My parents didn't understand everything. My mama has like a 4th grade education from Mexico. My father does have a high school diploma from the United States, but small town. So, it's a different perspective when you're talking about expectations and when you're talking about what you see in your household and those things. Fortunately, they were great people, they are great people, great parents, and valued education. So it kind of propelled me. And then the other thing is that drive. I've always been very competitive. So I remember biggest blessing in my life was going to Townview. Shout out to Science and Engineering Magnet. Class of 01, baby.
Skyline.
That's when I learned, hey, if they can do it, I can too. And I started, kind of pushing myself. But I remember working full time as a high school student, going to school, taking my classes, after school, going to working at different places, Tom Thumb, Kroger, and it was fun for me. I was driving, I felt grown. So there's a lot of challenges. I always think, I had a lot of energy. I was never tired, and that's really what did it. Kind of propelled me to getting that scholarship and kind of moving forward in my life. Everything after that, it's been a little bit easier of a road. I think once I realized, hey, I can do this education thing, in that I never stopped learning. One thing a lot of people don't know is I read a lot. I read a lot. I love to read. And honestly, that's probably what set me apart. I remember being, a little elementary school kid, didn't speak language too well, and reading comic books. And just kind of getting into that and I love literature. I love to read, and I think that makes a difference in how your mentality and how you proceed.
So you said something, and I want to kind of going back to when you were saying like you were getting in trouble, and I think we all been down that road. I know I was the same way, but you were saying I wanted to know, was it like a mentor that you have, or was it your competitive that you said that you kind of like you were so competitive? It was that because I'm seeing them doing it, I'm going to do it, or did you have that mentor or somebody that was supporting you to try to get you on the right track?
Great question. Well, for a long part of it, and I think any first generation immigrant can tell you this: you hide a lot of things from your parents. They don't know you. You're at school you, and then you're at home you.
You ain't got to be an immigrant. Same right here.
So I remember. I mean, let me tell you this: I remember getting the phone calls at home and me answering them, pretending to be my parents. Hello, I will have a conversation with him about that. And you're just getting away with stuff. So it was finally when I'm sitting there having to go to court, getting arrested and stuff, that my dad was like, my dad set me straight. So it was more of an old school type thing, but also Man, I love educators. I love teachers. I had a lot of teachers who really, really saw my potential. They recognized those things. And shout out to Ms. Whitaker, 6th grade math.
Okay.
Yeah, Ms. Prado, 7th grade math. Yeah. They would push me. They'd be like, "You're so good at this," and those are the things I think that really somebody believing in you when you don't really know what you want. I mean, that's what I think people don't understand is young people, they're just going off instinct, going off. I mean, what are you going after? You're trying to get girls.
Yeah.
You're trying to get girls. You're trying to be bad because that's what the girls. It gets you attention in the classroom. Mm-hmm. So I do think that shift when somebody believes in you and when you start kind of feeling that hey, wait a minute, I can do more. I can get the right attention. Yeah. So I think that makes a shift. And I can't name one particular mentor. I can tell you that my dad set me straight. And I can tell you that I started a conversation I remember on the drive to court was my dad said, "Is this who you are? Is this who you want to be? Is that what you want to be around? Because I'll leave you there." And or because I did go from being I always make the grades until that year when I really just went off the deep end, and it's kind of time for me to say, you know what, can I do this again? Can I straighten it out with the grades? So I do think it takes a community to raise. It takes a village to raise a child, and it did.
Definitely. It sounds like you were kind of on this path and you were active, but that activity kind of switched. You know what I'm saying? That light switched on, and you kind of got it in gear and got it going. And look at you today.
Well, you know what, and that's the thing. I don't take any of it for granted. I have great friends who from those times who went down that wrong path, and I still know some. I still run into them here and there. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in, and you see those things, and like I said, it is a blessing. It is a blessing to be able to do this and kind of share some of these experiences, and hopefully help our young people go the right path.
Most definitely. So. Just kind of like going a little bit further in what you were speaking and just kind of taking it to another topic, but still staying where we're at, is that if you got somebody, because you named teachers that was like, and we all had those teachers. I got Miss Bradley. Shout out to Miss Bradley, Longfellow. But I mean, what advice, especially like we were talking about in this climate that we're in, when we have some face-to-face and instruction, we got new teachers here on campus. You got new teachers that are probably going to be listening to this. What advice could you give to not only new teachers, but even veteran teachers? Because this is all different for everybody.
Yes.
Great question. And I've been pondering this a lot this school year. It's not an easy year at all. And I don't want anybody to ever lose sight that we know teachers do the hard work every day. Every day they do the hard work, the heavy lifting for us and our students. But I would say, the best advice for first year teachers is have a short memory. You're going to have those bad days, and those bad days make you want to quit. I still remember that. You have those nightmare days. You go in your car, and you're like, man, I don't know if I could come back tomorrow. But you got to forget that. Coaches, always say this. I used to box, and it was about you got to have a short memory. You can't remember that bad, that time you got dropped, the time you got hit, because it'll affect your performance forever. The best athletes don't remember the losses; they remember the wins and remember the victory. They're in the zone for a reason. So I think for our first year teachers, know that the good days, hang on to them. There's going to be a lot of them, and they're very, very much they bring you a lot of satisfaction. Forget those bad days because they're going to happen, and it's a natural part of this business. Now, for my experienced teachers, don't be so hard on yourselves. I get a lot of that lately. I've had a lot of conversations one-on-ones with my teachers, and they're so used to being rock stars. They're so used to being at the top, and they're so used to winning that they're having a hard time with this adjustment. And my thing is, don't be so hard on yourself. That's some self-imposed pressure. You put more pressure on yourself than really we want. We want you to keep loving kids, keep taking care of kids, keep doing the right thing. Everything else, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. So like harping on that, or continuing with that topic. What are some of the challenges that you faced, or that some teachers have come to you with challenges they faced during the hybrid learning?
Oh boy! Well, that is the question of the century, right? If anybody ever figures this out, they're gonna do it. Any form of adjustment. I always say this business is the business of adapting. But this year has been hard and heavy, fast and furious, and the biggest challenge I think as a campus principal is kind of weighing everything and trying to take as much as I can off teachers' workloads. We get a lot of big initiatives, and rightfully so. There's a lot of things that have to be done for our school to run well and for our district to continue to make progress. But at the same time, we can't just sit there and throw every initiative on our teachers. So part of my job and my leadership team's job is for us to balance those things and measure them and try to, see how much of the load we can take off of them and carry ourselves. And that's always been the job of a leader. Now, I think the biggest challenge specifically for the hybrid model and how we're doing the concurrent teaching has to do with teachers putting enough attention for both, right? Now the good part of the conversation is when I talk to teachers and when I look at the data for this round, our students are doing about even. We got at-home students who are struggling and doing well. We got in-person students who are both struggling and doing well. So I wouldn't say that there's any one thing that's going better. I think it's a matter of us trying to figure out and solve this. This is the first time in human history, for our knowledge, that we're using technology in this manner.
Exactly.
And we also don't know the effects of that. I sat in 8-hour Zoom meetings myself, and ooh boy, I tell you, I gotta get up, I gotta get out, I gotta get around. So I remember, 6th, 7th, 8th grade me. Are you kidding me? Sitting down that long?
Yeah.
No, we got to cut them some slack. And in our teachers, there's some workhorses. I walk by classrooms, and they're pouring their heart and soul into everything, and that means a lot. Makes me want to be a better leader because when I see those things, hey, it's time for me to step it up and do better for my campus.
Most definitely. I think, like you just said, man, I think even with me walking around and I'm seeing, shout out to Miss Garcia, Cortez, a.k.a. Cortez. She made her a bubble over there. She was like
incubation.
Yeah. She was like, I don't think I'm getting through, and her intention. Like I say, I'm always about intention. I know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Like you'll walk in there and you see, you said, she's in a bubble, but the intention behind it, she's really trying to get her students to learn. And she had a conversation with me that was like, man, she was frustrated, but rightfully so. But like you just said, it makes you a better leader. When you see that, it's like, man, how can I support her? Or what can I do more? Because she's trying, and that's what we
giving that effort.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's
be a better educator.
That's what it's about. So
you were talking about the district a little bit, and we don't know the effects of what hybrid learning is going to do. We've seen that there's kids are behind a little bit. What other challenges do you kind of think the district is going to face when the pandemic is over, or maybe more specifically just next school year?
Excellent question. I think this is what myself and everybody above me loses sleep at night about, is how are we going to bridge those gaps, those learning gaps, those connectivity gaps, those social gaps. And a lot of people don't think about that. I care about the social development of my students. Middle school, that's where you do it. That's where you learn. That's where you learn a lot of those things. That's where you interact. That's your first time discovering different parts of this world. So I do think it's going to be a different world once we're done with this, in that we're going to have a lot to overcome. But I think our focus needs to be the social aspect, the social emotional aspect, first and foremost. I think everything else, fortunately, we'll have some time with our learners. And this is global. So we got to be realistic with our expectations. But, what I don't want is students who are not able to handle themselves emotionally, socially, in ways that we could have provided. So I think that's what we got to really focus on. The other big thing is equity. Equity. I appreciate our district really going full force into this idea of equity for our students. It's always been my driving force behind why I do what I do. And I think, there's always a difference between the haves and have-nots. And I think this technology gap is going to be a big one. So I do think we've done the right things to kind of close that gap, and we'll continue to do so.
Good, true.
Good. I wanted to, because I was watching on the news the other day, and they were talking about the DISD, our students are falling behind, with our instruction. How do you think the district should approach, helping students who might have fallen behind?
Well, and there's a lot of ideas out there. A lot of them involve more school. Now, I think we have to be careful with that because, more of the same thing that hasn't worked is not necessarily a solution. And it breaks my heart as an educator to have to say that, because we always want to solve every problem. You know, we do. We as educators, I think that's why we do this. But I think a lot of it going forward, we have to focus on some of the community issues with our students, some of the language gaps, some of the cultural gaps that we have, the disenfranchisement in our communities, which is why it's happening. You know, we got parents that don't know their child's supposed to log on every single day. And how are we going to, do that? Because there's nothing, telling this child they need to do more school and then they don't log on isn't going to fix that. So I do think that we have to switch that a little bit and say, you know what, let's educate our parents, let's build those bridges. The biggest takeaway for me from this pandemic is how important the school building is for the community. The physical aspect, we got lines all the way out the freeway for picking up food in our community. We got parents really appreciative of everything we do. It's a shift. It's a shift. And I think people finally realizing, hey, we send our most loved beings to you, their children. They send them to us and we mold them. So I do think that the pandemic, if nothing positive came from it, it's just that idea of how important the school is to the community and how important it is to really growing a community.
Well, what I'll say add to that is, I have crosswalk duty on Thursdays, and we're sitting out there, and I was with another teacher, and she goes, "Is this the line for kids to get picked up?" And I was like, "I assume so. I had no clue." And then I started to think about it more, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the line for people to pick up food." And it's such a great thing that the school's doing, but it's such a real world example of what's going on for families, not only in this community, but throughout the country, that I think people can lose sight of that sometimes. So to have that right there, it makes this job and this school a whole lot more important. It makes that job more important for us. And do you ever have moments like that where it just becomes, you probably have them every single day, where it's just real world examples of everything that's going on?
Oh yeah, a lot of it has to do with usually as an administrator you try to tackle a problem and you only get the end result of the problem, and then you work backwards, and then you start seeing, well, this is what's going on in the home, this is what's going on with this child's life, so then you really start having a different perspective, and you really start saying, you know what, it makes sense. When I was 11 through 14 years old and I was going through that, I may be worse. So those are the things you see. Sometimes the families come here and, the parents come in and you see a lot, they tell you a lot about their lives, and you realize we got to do more. We got to do more. There's so many inequities in the system that go beyond the educational system, and I think, it's a noble endeavor for the district to tackle them as best we can, but really we got to do more at the policy level, and I'm a big advocate, everybody knows that, because I think it's doable. I just think that we have to kind of start realizing, nationally at the state level and at the county and local level, who's in it for us, and who's really here going to help our communities come together and grow and flourish, because we can do those things.
Most definitely. And I think, as we were just kind of saying, I think we know in education for sure that we had a lot of inequities and all that. But I think maybe one positive thing with COVID is that it really brought it to the forefront. And then there are some plans that have been, good or bad, however you view them, that we are trying to close some gaps. I'm not, like I say, we can be better at it, but at least it's brought it to our attention more. So I know, when you got that doctor in front of your name, you're busy, so we don't have too much time for you. I want to ask you one question before we get out of here with you, and is where do you see our education community in the next 5 years?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, this technological revolution that has happened so hard and heavy is going to force us to change how we do things. I do think maybe we can use it and leverage it to capture students that otherwise may not have been captured in this process. But I also think, and I hope it continues, is maybe we'll appreciate our educators more. And to me, that's the biggest thing. It used to be this stupid saying that really bothers me is, those who can't teach. And we know it's the biggest garbage. It's an old school mentality of, teachers are those that it's a last resort type thing. And the truth is, it's a calling. I was on my way to law school out of college. It was just supposed to be a pit stop to teach 1 year and go to law school. And my first day in that classroom, I said, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. That was it. That was it. I made up my mind that day. And then I walk around, I do this job, and I think to myself, I feel fortunate to get paid to do what I do.
Yes.
I feel fortunate. The wins, are far better than any other wins you could ever have. I mean, there's nothing. No one will know the satisfaction except us as educators. Yeah. So I do hope that this mentality of appreciating our educators continues. I do hope that it causes a shift and really we start seeing the value of public education, because there's a big difference between public education and the load we carry and all other types of education. Yeah. And so I do think as we kind of keep moving forward and hopefully get through this pandemic, I do think that we're going to be in a better place. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one thing. I know Seagoville Middle School is going to be in a better place.
Definitely, definitely.
And that's my goal. Is we're going to get there. We got all the right people in place. We got all the right pieces in place, and everybody working together. That's all it's going to take for us to get where we're supposed to be.
Most definitely. Well, Dr. Martinez from the MD 2020, our members here, we really do appreciate you taking the time out on this day. Like I said, I know you're busy, but we really do taking the time speaking with us and then speaking to the community. We want to give you that opportunity if you want to say anything to the community before you roll out. And then what we do here, we're going to be doing shout outs. So you got one person you want to shout out, so tell the community what leave them with a little message and give a shout out to anybody that you can think of. We'll let you do that time now.
All right. To the community, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you. We know it's not easy. So thank you very much. A la comunidad, muchas gracias. Le agradecemos todo. Y pues sabemos que es difícil estos tiempos, pero pues aquí estamos para ustedes. Big shout out to my grandmother. Her birthday's next week, and
happy birthday.
One of the smartest people I've ever met, and she's getting up there in age, so it's a blessing to still have her with me. Thank you guys very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about when you got your true leaders that got your back, and take time to sit down and really show another side of them. That's what it's all about, man. So
awesome.
We appreciate Dr. Martinez, but you know what? I
didn't know he was going to go to law school.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Something new about. They think that a lot of people have this preconceived notion that educators we're at work 24/7. We're shut down after 5 o'clock. And then they wake us up at 8.
That's what I said. But I mean now I think that's the purpose of something like this, to really get to know him, or even know us, or just know our guests or people that'll be on the show just a little bit better. Like, you may not know some people just may know him as the principal who walks around in a nice suit and a walkie-talkie in his office, but now that man, he has a soul in him. Like you said, it's just not a switch that's turned on and off. Like, he's an actual individual who has a life outside, but also believes in certain things too. So, man, I really appreciate it. It was a lot of things we can take from that, that we can kind of dissect from it. But man, one thing that he said that really got to me was, like you said, it's a calling, man. It's education, being a teacher, being anything, not only just a teacher, but a staff worker, a cafeteria worker that's in the educational realm. And it is a calling. I know for me, I did come in here just thinking it was a check in 2018. Like, I needed a job because I was in the finance industry, and that kind of went down with everything that was going on in the economy. So I was like, man, I gotta work. At that time I had 2 kids. I'm like, so let me try this. I think I can teach. I'm good at math, but it didn't take me a day. It took me a little bit longer. I came in for a semester, but at the end of that semester, man, I felt like, man, I did a disservice to some of them students, because I was just really I'm teaching them, but I'm really not building no relationships, not growing them. So I went into the next year really more focused, and I think that's when I know it's my calling now, but I think that's when I really answered that call was going into the 2018-19 school year.
I think the thing about it is and it's only if you've been in education, if you've been an educator, to watch students progress, throughout a semester, throughout a school year, and then to watch them come out on the other end, and it's like, man, you're like 10 times the person you were 9 months ago.
Man,
that's an amazing feeling. Every May, every June, whenever whenever that summertime gets here, and then to watch those kids progress, even beyond high school, beyond college, beyond whatever profession they decide. I think that is the most exciting part that I've enjoyed over this past 10 years of being in education.
How did you get into education?
I like these guys right here. I needed a job.
I think that's all of us. Like, that's how I was.
I was out of college and I needed somewhere to work, and I was still trying to find my way, and I got on as a substitute teacher, and I so happened to be at the school that I had graduated from, and somebody gave me opportunity, and I just kind of just took it to levels, took it to this. At first I was subbing, and I got on as a inclusion aide, real young, still 21, 22, out of college. Then I jumped on as a credit recovery coordinator. Then I jumped on as a special education teacher, coaching. So it was kind of one of those things where it's kind of like, I needed a job, and then I got in and figured out this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I think, and for you, Kelly, like you said, it's first year because you're coming from, outside of education, but I think that, like, you're here for a reason, and then, like you say, if you haven't found it yet, you will find it. But, like, going back to Mayberry, what I found is, like you said, and like Dr. Martinez said, man, like, we really mold these students. Like, I was telling somebody, I remember last year having a conversation, maybe a year before, it's like we spend more time with them during the school year than like their moms and dads, because for some kids, their moms and dads work nights, so they don't really see them until maybe like the weekend. So they see us more than they see their family members. So we're almost like their family almost, and so we have a lot of influence. So when we're standing up there in front of that board and giving a lesson, instructional or personal, man, like they take what we're saying, that holds a lot of weight for them. So we have to be patient. We got to like be caring. And like you said, it has to be a calling, man, because and I think holding people accountable, when you find people who are not like that, who may just still be here, they're in that 6-7 year and they just here for the check, and they'll tell students, like, we have to hold those people accountable. Like, look, you need to get out and you need to have a change of mindset, man, because that's not what we're trying to be at and be saying for our kids, especially not here at Seagoville Middle School. So
I think, like, for me, like, first year, it's October now, so this is like a third
almost November. It's crazy. Yeah.
So it's flying by, but like, I think there's a perception that teachers don't get paid really well, or like they can't make a lot of money, which is not true. Like, their DISD is really doing a good job of making sure that these teachers are having a higher salary. They gave everybody I think a 3% increase even before the school year started. But it's only been 3 or 4 months for me, and I've already had one moment that was really, really cool where I had been teaching them something about, I think it was summary leads, which I've been doing for like a week now. And I had one point that I had been trying to drive. Oh, it was interviews. And I tried to been driving it home to them. And I finally said, like, okay, guys, like, what do we do before we start the interview? And like, what's the one thing we have to do? And every single kid yelled. It's like, we have to ask that before we have to ask them if we can record them. And I just fist pumped because I was like, yes,
that's how it makes you feel.
And I was just like it was such a moment, because I was like, there had been other times where I'd asked them and they didn't remember, and I was like, okay, like, let's go back over it. And it wasn't something like I got down on myself, because I was like, all right, let's just go over it one more time. Like, I'm not doing a good enough job. Like, we'll go over it again. We've got time. And then, but that one moment where it was just like they all remembered, and it was like, here we go,
And I think it's those fist pump moments, you know what I'm saying, to get us to the next day. You know what I'm saying, to get us to the next day, and then get us to the next day.
That's exactly what he was saying, because in the beginning, sometimes you could be in that car, man, bawling like, oh, this is it. I am doing a terrible job. I can't do it no more. So you got to remember those fist pump moments, man, because you're gonna have those moments where you just like at home, like, I wonder what Monster. Let me go to Monster.com and see what's going on over here.
Like Indeed right now.
Like every new now hiring sign, you like, I may need to apply there. Like Williams Chicken hiring, okay, I might can do better there. I got a master's, wonder if I can be a manager there, like right now. But you got to remember those moments, man, because those are impactful, man. They keep you, like you said, that keeps you going. That keeps you like that adrenaline. Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna be here. Because. I mean, it can be rough, man, like you say, because especially during this time, it is rough. So, man, we really appreciate, Dr. Martinez coming in, giving us his thoughts and his motivation, his insight on just another side. Like I said, hopefully, us teachers and students, they can see him in a different light. They understand, like, okay, why he makes these decisions, why this is going on, and from his administration team. But man, we really thankful. I think we started off with the right guess for this one right here, man.
I think that was fantastic, man.
Most definitely, man. But we like to we're gonna try to just keep straight to the point, effective and efficient, and it's almost getting to that time as we're closing out. But I mean, we're leaving now, but we're gonna be back.
Oh, we gonna be back.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna have same great guests, great dialogue, conversation, get you some laughs, get you some insight. Man, I'm gonna write it down here when we get that first guest that's gonna cry. We need them tears too, man. We need them tears. So we got to see. Somebody bring that emotion. Let's see. That's fine. But man, here what we're gonna do when we close out MD 2020, we're gonna make sure that we give shout outs to certain individuals who just been rocking it, and not only if it's at Seagoville Middle School and the community, just in our lives. We just want to give shout outs because we're thankful for those people, because like I said, for these shout outs, they keep us motivated.
Yeah, keep us motivated,
but
man.
don't y'all forget, man, we will be sharing this right now. We'll be posted on YouTube, so when you listen and you like it, subscribe, give us feedback, let us know, but also tell a friend about MD 2020, because we're trying to make this big and just trying to make it impactful while we're having fun. So most definitely check us out on YouTube, and it'll be posted on our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, the Seagoville Middle School, and we'll provide that information when we share it. But most definitely, man, we thank y'all for tuning in. And Kelly, who's your shout out?
I'm gonna shout out my brother Ryan. He's 4 years older than me. He's an accountant. He's had a rough time with everything going on with COVID. It's really something that's been weighing on him mentally, but he's fought through it. And so being there for him, and he's been there for me for a lot of the different things that I've gone through health-wise. So just want to shout out my brother, because love him to death, and he's fighting through it really hard, just like everybody is.
All right, shout out to Ryan. All right, Mayberry.
I'm gonna shout out my mom.
All right.
Shout out to mom.
Right, one who gave you life. Okay, gotta shout out her.
Got to for the first episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, go ahead.
Best friend. One of the people that's always there for me. So shout her out today, and then we'll get somebody else popping next week.
All right. Well, you making me look bad. My mama gonna be asking, but man, my mama knows I love her. But I'm gonna shout out, man. I'm gonna keep it on the campus for this one, man. We have a teacher here, Mr. Reed. He's actually not a teacher here for Seagoville Middle School. He just kind of came in due to the process of leveling right now. I think he has a date of leaving, man. But I'm telling you, man, Mr. Reed has been on it, man. Anything that we've asked him to do, man, this man was our virtual alarm bell, fire alarm bell for one day. Like, do you understand? He had to walk around the school and say, "There's not a fire here." And so to do that, man, and to sub and to cafeteria due to the badges, man, that's what it's about right there, man. Like, not really just having removing that pride. Like, he may be defined as a teacher or whatever, but I mean, doing other roles and responsibility to make sure that our kids are safe and that the day continues to move on in success, man. So shout out to Mr. Reed. But yeah, man, shout out to us too, Mr. Kelly and Mayberry and myself, man. We it's our first one, man. It's down in the books, man. I think it was great.
I think it was fantastic, man. This was amazing.
Yeah, so we gonna always try to keep y'all engaged, and hopefully y'all tune in. But we're gonna close it out, man. First episode down, MD 2020. Going down. Thank y'all.